The lower extremity we thought we had solved with open surgery, and then came endovascular surgery. And then we found, well, maybe the results weren't quite as good, but the morbidity and mortality was much better. So now, over the last, let's say, 15 years, we've been trying to reproduce the results that we have with open surgery with endovascular techniques that have a lower mortality and a lower morbidity. So the unmet need right now are the small arteries. We're doing pretty well in the large arteries, meaning those in the thigh and certainly those in the abdomen. But when you get down to the below knee arteries, that's the challenge. Well, there's a huge emphasis on lower extremity reconstruction at Veith. Not just this year, but more this year than ever before. In part, that's been stimulated by the drug-coated balloon dilemma that we've all had over the last year. But even before that, lower extremities were always a focus. And in fact, when Dr. Veith started his practice, other than lung transplants, what he did, it was lower extremities, and he made his name in the 1970s doing complex lower extremity reconstructions. So what do we have now in 2019? We've got a whole host of new trials using endovascular devices to do what we used to do with open surgery. And they range from some new drug-eluting and drug-coated technology, some of which doesn't even use paclitaxel anymore, uses new agents. We have stents that are now bioresorbable. Those are going to be starting now. There'll be bigger trials than we've had before. And we've got a whole host of other adjunctive treatments like new atherectomy devices, a whole host of new drugs and things on the horizon that will be studied in the next, let's say, 2 or 3 years. So data is always a problem because it never comes soon enough for anyone who's doing the study. One has to enroll the patients and then follow them up. Traditionally, these studies take maybe a year or sometimes 18 months to enroll, and then the follow-up period before the primary endpoint might be usually 9 months, but it might be 6 months or as long as 12 months. So it's probably a couple of years away before we start to see the results from the trials that I've been talking about. Well, I think it's important for physicians themselves to be part of trials because you get an opportunity to use devices that you wouldn't otherwise have and new drugs that you wouldn't otherwise be able to use. I think it provides something new for a patient who may not have something until the end of the trial. Of course, there's a risk that's associated with that because the device or drug isn't proven until you're done with the trial. But by and large, for device trials, they're pretty safe. By the time they come to first in human, they're pretty safe.